Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavidvaram. Okay, so today we're going to explore an essay by Paramahamsa Yogananda. This is the 5th essay in Peace in a Restless World. Last week we took up the topic of desire extensively through Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji's essay about how desire is something that is an agitation of mind, and how eventually the way to remove that agitation is to be free from all desires. So last week we covered that whole progression of how to really be free from desires. This week, as I said, the topic of the essay is a world without boundaries. So what Paramahamsa Yoganandaji talks about in this essay are a couple of things. One is how to really be free from prejudice. 2 is how to embrace everyone and expand our love. And 3, how to commune with God. So he sees peace as something of from our end being able to expand beyond boundaries. So the first thing we're going to talk about is prejudice. Something that prevents us from identifying with another person is prejudice. A prejudice is a preconceived notion, a notion that a certain race or a certain culture, a certain gender behaves a certain way. And maybe it's a sort of generalization. And it's something that I got because maybe I was in an environment that made me think that way. Or maybe I was influenced by some media that I saw. Or maybe I got so stuck into my own way of living that I didn't even really see that there's another way to live. And very often when you and I live life, when we do certain things, we think that's the only way to do things. You know, when I first moved here, when my family first moved here, and when I started school, I thought that school was so weird because nobody had uniforms in the school here, and that everybody was, you know, going to different classes. And I thought it was so weird that there were only 10 people in a classroom or 12 people, where when I grew up in the Philippines, we had like 50 people in a classroom and 4 electric fans, and everyone feeling so incredibly hot in our like really long uniforms. And so I was thinking, this is a weird way. But it wasn't a weird way. It was a different way. Then who says that that way is better than the way that I lived, or that the way I lived is better than the way they lived? Who says that one is better than the other? There's just a different way of doing things. Or when I had traveled to Italy once, and I spent a few months there for a study abroad program, and I realized that they take so long to eat. They take like 1.5 hours just to eat. And it was a really, really big event. And I'm like, oh, why don't you just grab a bite and get over with it? Right? Because being from New York, that's what you do. But there's so much beauty in the way they eat. There's so much companionship. There's so much quality time. And there's so much respect and love for food. Or when I went to India, and, you know, everybody would just cram in one place. And I'm like, well, There's so much space. How come, how come everyone is just all together? But there's a beauty in being so close to each other. So the thing is, when we start to live our lives, we always think that we know how to do a certain thing and it should be done the way we know. And that in itself is a prejudice. Because when we meet people from other countries, other cultures, other races, we should go with an open mind. That, hey, yes, I lived my life a certain way at home, but when I come to your country, even to your home, then I'm completely open. I want to learn. I want to see what you have to offer, because that could be a new way of living or even a better one for me. So prejudice means when we reach out to other people to go open, not with this already preconceived notion that this is how things are supposed to be done. Because when we go with an open mind, there's so much we can learn. And there's so much beauty in each and every culture that we see. There's so much togetherness and love and harmony. So being free from prejudice means that. Being open. Being free from prejudice also means that sometimes I have to test things out for myself. You know, when we grow up in media and they portray a certain race to be like a certain way, or a certain gender to be a certain way, we start to think like that. And we start to think like every person of that culture, of that religion, of that race is like that. Or maybe we grow up in an environment that tells us that that's the way they are. Sometimes I just have to give the person the benefit of the doubt. I have to let my mind decide for myself, what is this relationship with this person like? And what is this person to me? Because if I go with all that baggage, then I lose my free thought. And as we become mature and as we learn more, and especially for a Shastriya mind, our mind opens up. And when we're able to think for ourselves, that's the most beautiful thing. Form a relationship with the person by yourself. And then you see. That means being free from prejudice. So when we go out into the world like this, then that definitely is a stepping stone for peace. The second topic that he comes to is to expand our love. Now, this is a very, very tricky thing because we actually do not know so much how to love. And, you know, we did talk about this before in the last class, that we actually love everyone for our sake. We don't love them because they're beautiful and amazing. We love them because they love us. That's it, you know. We love them because they make us happy. We don't love just to love. But if I truly wanted to expand love, what would that look like? The expansiveness of love starts from first loving ourselves. That's the first step. Loving ourselves, being able to, number one, accept ourselves for who we are. Somebody who's depressed, feeling down, feeling betrayed, cannot love anybody because they don't have love for themselves. So the first step is, yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I'm not perfect. Yes, there's so many things that I could improve upon, but maybe I'm having a hard time right now. But fearlessly accept every single thing about yourself and say, it's okay. It's okay. Why? Because I'm sincere right now. It's okay because I'm sincere. I want to be better. I want to change. And when we fearlessly accept ourselves with all of our faults and shortcomings, then actually there is a resolve to become better because we've accepted it. Not that we're denying that, oh, it's okay if I'm like that. Oh, it's okay. Everyone's human. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone errs. Not in that way. In the way that I accept and in the way that I become sincere, and in a way that I become open to change. Because yes, everyone makes mistakes, but now I'm mature enough. Now I'm a little bit more grown. So maybe I can make less of them. Maybe I can start to grow more. So when we start to accept ourselves, then we start to give ourselves more value. So give ourselves time, quality time, not go here, there, everywhere and rush from one thing to another and make it one big, busy stream. I give myself time to just think. I give myself time to just be, or maybe walk, just to be by myself. I give myself quality time. And I give myself time to be in the company of those who fuel me, who inspire me, who make me grow. And I give myself time to exercise, to eat. I give quality to me. So first is I love myself. Once we are loving ourselves, then slowly this love can come to our family. And again, the best way to manifest love is to give and accept. You cannot love without giving. Try loving somebody and not wanting to give them anything. It's so hard. When you love, the expression is giving. So when I start to love my family or expand it to my family, what does it mean? First is I accept them for who they are. You know, right now we're all maybe living together in such cramped spaces, and especially if you're in a New York City apartment, you know what that's like, and so many people are there. And everyone has their idiosyncrasies and quirks and habits, and forget trying to change anyone. Forget about it. Just accept this is who they are. And when they're ready, they'll change. The only thing we can do is inspire them. So accept them and give to them. Give. What are the things that we can give? Time. Not the kind of time that, yeah, I spent the whole day with you. But was there quality in that? The kind of time where there is quality, where something meaningful happens. You don't have to spend the whole day with someone. It can even be a half an hour meaningful, deep conversation, and that is beautiful to give. So give time, give companionship. And when we are living in a family, the other way to show love is to demand less. Demand less. You know, so many things are happening now. So many so many people have needs in our own household. So the least demands I have, the easier it will be for my family. That's actually a sign of love. A sign of love when I live simply, because I'm not bothering you with anything. And I'm extra cautious and I don't demand so much. So when we love our families, this is the way to show it. And more so by improving our own self. When I take time for my self-development, what's happening is I'm becoming better because I'm grounding myself more. And when I take time for self-improvement and ground myself more, then I can give more. So if I truly love my family, then these are the ways and means which I can show that. Then we come to love for the community, love for the nation. How do I show this? Again, accept. Accept what is happening, accept everything, and find what is the need in the nation? What is the need in the community? and see how I can give, my talent, my ability, my time, find a creative way to give. Right now, love means something else for us. Love means being physically distant. Love means empty streets, empty roads, empty cars. Love doesn't mean hugging the people you love. Love means being far away from that. Love doesn't mean going to see our distant relatives. Love means picking up the phone and calling them. Love means being physically distant from our people in the nation, the community. That is a sign of great love, of respecting the law because we want to make sure that everyone gets well. So that's a way to love. I was sharing with the other class that, there was this Italian singer, and he was feeling so much for Italy that he wrote this song, Rinascerò, rinascerai, which means I will be reborn and you will be reborn. And he was crying, and he got this feeling, and he called someone to help him compose the music. And now millions of people are listening to that song and just feeling that oneness. That's plenty of giving. Imagine how your one song is touching so many hearts. So when we feel for the nation and we feel for the community, we find a way to give, whatever it may be, whatever our unique way, in whatever way, making masks and singing songs and meeting people online, and the most creative ways, there's some way that we can give. And eventually, when we identify with our nation, and that's a really important step, identifying with your community, and then once you identify with your community, even identifying with your nation, then only we can hope to identify with the world. And in these means, we are able to expand love. So if it starts with me, if I can't love myself, I can't love my family. If I can't love my family, I can't love my community. If I can't love my community, I can't love my nation. And if I can't love my nation, how am I going to love the world? So as I grow in love, I become more expansive. And the way to show love is to give everything we've got. There are some pointers now, when we come to the next section, about another way to make peace is to commune with God. What is communion with God? We always think about this topic, and what is this to have this relationship with God, to commune with God? Actually, it's very beautifully laid out in our Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga means our eightfold limb of yoga. The word yoga actually comes from the word yuj, which means to unite ourselves with the higher. So in this essay, he also talks about Ashtanga Yoga. And the first step is called Yama. Yama basically means avoiding unrighteous behavior. So avoiding unrighteous behavior, how? So we've already studied a few of these terms. One is ahimsa, which means non-violence. Next is satya, truthfulness. Asteya, non-stealing. Brahmacharya, moderation. And aparigraha, non-hoarding. So the first step is yama. Yama means, avoiding unrighteous behavior. So getting rid of your nishiddha karma. Now we've covered most of ahimsa, satya, brahmacharya in a previous essay. So now I'm just going to stress on asteya and aparigraha. Asteya means not stealing. Not stealing, yes, not stealing toilet paper, not stealing, other people's masks, not stealing other people's things, yes, but more in a deeper context, non-stealing means not stealing attention. What do you mean not stealing attention? I mean, look, there's so much going on in the world right now. And if you and I have the nerve to say, oh, I have a headache. Oh, I have a tummy ache. Oh, I feel so sad. That is stealing attention. Right now, your attention and my attention should go into giving, into serving, into loving. If I'm going to hoard the attention and say, you know what, I'm so bored. You know what, I'm so tired. You know what, I'm not feeling well. If I'm going to turn it all towards me, that's asteya. That's theft. That's theft because you're stealing that attention, which should go out into giving, especially at this point in time. It is very much like, I'll give you a simpler example so you can understand. A simpler example if your best friend is getting married. If your best friend is getting married, naturally she should be the front and center of attention. And the groom should be the front and center of attention. Now, you would not dare go into that wedding and outdress them, right? That's not the right thing to do because that's their day. That's their time to be with each other. And if you go and outdress them, that's stealing attention. So asteya means not to steal attention, especially when other people require it much more than we do. Aparigraha means non-hoarding. Hoarding means, yes, we hoard resources. We hoard time and we hoard potential. Anything that we hoard is wasted. When we hoard so many resources, fill so many of our houses with so many things, we hoard it and we steal it from others. Where we're hoarding it and it's like they can't even use it. We can take as much as we need, but the rest, let other people also have. Sometimes we hoard time. We have so much time to ourselves and we keep it and just while away. That's hoarding. That time actually should be given to others, should be given to other people. Make use of it. Sometimes we hoard our talent. We have talents, we have skills, we have abilities. But when it comes to volunteering or helping out, we're like, no, I don't know if I can do it. No, I don't know if I should do it. We hoard it. And guess what? If we don't use it, we lose it. So aparigraha means not hoarding these talents, these abilities, these potentials, because that's a crime. If you are gifted, if we are gifted with a resource, with a talent, with wealth, and we hoard it, that is the most selfish thing in the world. Is it because we're depriving someone else of it? When you and I are blessed with something, it means that it's for everyone. It's not just for us. And that is dharma. That is part of our dharma. You have something, you share it. When we hoard it, we lose it. So this yama helps us to expand and helps us to grow out of our prohibited or prohibitive actions. Niyama, on the other hand, expands us to selflessness. And these are words which we've seen also before. Shaucha, which means purity or cleanliness. Santosha, contentment, being grateful. Tapaha, austerity. Swadhyaya, daily study. And Ishvara pranidhana, offering our actions to God. Last week, there was a question about selfless action and divinizing the action. As we progress to selflessness, on that ladder, there is a slight difference. Yes, we start doing selfless action, but sometimes in that selfless action, what happens is a lot of ego can come. That, yeah, I'm doing this selfless action. Look at how much good work I'm doing. Look at all of this, and it's about me. This ego is called sattvic ego. It comes out of selfless work because I'm doing selfless work. And I want to be able to say that I did it. I want to be able to say that I spend time doing it. But when we come to the level of divinizing that, what that means is we actually acknowledge that we are but an instrument. That's why in the pledge we have this line, may thy grace and blessings flow through us and to the world around us. It means we acknowledge that it's a higher grace flowing through us and to the world around us. Not that we ourselves are doing. We're just an instrument of God's grace, of Guru's grace. And so when this comes, then truly that action is divinized. Selfless action is not enough. It has to be divinized so that we completely lose that sense of ego and acknowledge that there's someone else working through us. And when that someone higher, greater works through us, then so much good will come out of us. It will be a repository of goodness. And that is what you call a divine action, when you don't even know what you're doing anymore. Because the truth is, you're not doing it. Someone greater is. That is called Ishvara Pranidhana. The others are pretty simple, so I'm not going to go into too much depth. We have taken also those values before. What I'd like to proceed and spend a little bit more time on are the next steps. So you see, steps 1 and 2, yama and niyama, are these daily disciplines that one has in life. The third one is asana. Asana means to have a steady posture and a comfortable one. Sthiram sukham asana. Not a posture that's like this. A posture where you are steady, the body is steady, but also comfortable. You've grown comfortable in it and you can sit quietly for, 20 minutes, 30 minutes without feeling strained. Asana. Pranayama, so starts with your breathing. Being able to regulate your breathing, just focus on your breathing. So if you want to say yama and niyama, they start at your body level. Then your asana is also about your body level. Then your pranayama is at your breath level. Then pratyahara means you withdraw the senses. You withdraw the senses from the outside. So you start to close your eyes. You start to tune into yourself. That's called pratyahara. So that has to do with your senses. Then, once you sort of are ready going inward, the next step, the 5th step, is called dharana. Dharana is a very important step. It means finding something to hold your attention. So we cannot commune with God until and unless we have a form or a sound or something that holds our attention. So that's why in our Sanatana Dharma, we have different forms of gods and goddesses that we can take as Ishta, dear to us, so we can hold that in our minds. Or we have the sound of Om, or or we have a mantra. Or if you don't feel that this resonates with you, you can take up an affirmation. But there needs to be something that holds our mind, holds our attention, and that is something that we love. We just absolutely love, because if it can't hold our attention, we can't focus on it. So dharana means find something that can truly hold your attention when you close your eyes, so that your thoughts don't go here and there. The next step, dhyana. Dhyana means wherein pratyaya ekatanata. Your thoughts are directed towards that which object. So your thoughts are going towards that object. They're still dissimilar. Like sometimes maybe 3 thoughts are going towards that object, then 1 thought away. Maybe 4 thoughts towards the object, 2 thoughts away. Maybe 1 thought toward that object, 5 thoughts away. So that trying to incorporate a single pointed thought flow is called dhyana. And sometimes there will be breaks, vichidya. There will be breaks in between. But you still keep going, you still keep going, you still keep going. And then after dhyana, the 8th step is samadhi, wherein that single pointed thought flow just remains without breaks. It's just going, 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 and flowing towards that object of your love, which represents the divinity within. And when we come to that samadhi, there is a quietness, a quietude. And that is one way to commune with God, in that utter quietude. We hear so many times that we pray to God, but when does He answer? He answers in silence. In that quietude, all things become clear, all answers become revealed, and all communication with God is attained. So this is also one way to bring about peace. But you see, this 8-step yoga, what it requires. First, our lifestyle has to be really, really pakka. If we had a disturbing day or all kinds of things, then it's very hard to sit quietly. So the first 2 steps, yama and niyama, are extremely important. If I cannot master these steps as a seeker, it's going to be difficult for me to sit quietly. So in a nutshell, this is what we have covered in this essay. So first, we talked about being free from prejudice by being open and by coming to our own conclusions, thinking freely. Second, he talked about expanding love by being able to give and give more. And third, he talked about communion with God through the 8-fold path of yoga.